Hello, this is Robert Capuccio. I'd like to welcome you to another PT on the Net video interview. Today we're going to talk about how to give our clients nutritional guidance within the domains of coaching, teaching, and instruction, and how to integrate those domains appropriately in order to bridge the gap between where our client is and where they desire to be. Joining us in this conversation is European Master Trainer for Viper, as well as UK FitPro Master Trainer, Adam Daniel.
Hi there, Bobby.
Hello, Adam. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Adam, our clients are very often confused, and that's probably an understatement, regarding nutritional information. They have a goal, they desire to achieve it, and they try to set out and do the right thing by doing a little bit of investigative work on their own, and then they come across conflicting information in publications and videos from one fitness professional to another fitness professional, such as, do I eat carbohydrates? No carbohydrates, low carbohydrates, high fat diet, high protein diet versus no fat diet. Do I follow the Paleolithic diet? Do I follow the zone diet? Metabolic typing. And they don't really understand what this means. Do I not eat after 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the evening? If I am an avid traveler and I'm in a jet plane going across multiple time zones, does that mean I can eat all the time or I can never eat? What does that mean exactly? And then we tell them what to do, and sometimes, even though we have the best intentions, that adds to their confusion, and as you know, confused people do nothing. Now, in one of your seminars, I heard you say something very interesting, which is there is a delineation between coaching, teaching, and instruction, and one of the key result areas for any fitness professional is knowing when to use each one of those.
This is true, Bobby, and like you said, there's 3 very definitive skills that as a fitness professional we need to understand. And more importantly, we need to understand when to use them. So the analogy I like to use is one of golf. And I'm sure everyone out there knows the basics of golf. And say, for example, you're playing and you end up in a bunker. You're going to pick a particular club to play that shot with, which would be a sandwich. Now, if you had a 400-yard drive ahead of you, you'd probably go with your 1-wood. So you're picking the right club at the right time. And the skills you mentioned of coaching, teaching and instructing, it's exactly the same principle, in that we need to know when to use which skill. Because if we use the wrong skill at the wrong time, it could lead to the wrong result.
Well, what are these skills then? What is coaching? Let's start with that.
Okay, coaching. So coaching, ultimately, most people know what they have to do to achieve a goal. The main thing with coaching is you're facilitating a process of helping them understand how they're going to do that. So what I mean by that is if I walked out onto the street near where I live, let's say, and I asked 10, 12 people what they need to do to lose weight, I would say that most of those people, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of those people would say I need to exercise more, that I need to eat less fried food, fatty foods, and maybe eat less food generally, that I need to increase my fruit and veg intake, and probably cut down on alcohol. Now, we'd agree that if they do that, then they're more than likely they would lose weight, for most people. So ultimately, they know what they have to do to achieve the goal of weight loss. What I'm helping them doing as a coach is to help them facilitate the process and make the right decisions, and to help them understand what they have to do to move forward to be successful. So ultimately, to sum coaching up, it's really helping someone understand what they have to do to move forward to be successful by getting them to take responsibility.
And that's a very good point. Nick Jarvis, who is an internationally renowned behavioral coach as well as a neuro-linguistic programming master, said that when you tell somebody what to do, the responsibility lies with you. When they come to their own conclusions and decide to take action based on those conclusions, the onus is on them. So coaching, if I understand you correctly, is helping someone to elicit optimal performance by drawing upon their own knowledge and inner resources directed towards a predetermined, specified outcome.
Spot on, Bobby.
And then we're left with teaching and instruction. Now this can be a little bit confusing, can't it, Adam? Because it sounds very similar. What's the difference between teaching somebody and instructing someone?
Well, like I said, they are very similar, and they kind of start off the same way. They both have a different outcome, and that's the most important thing. So with teaching someone, we want to give them some information, and that information has to help them move forward to be successful. But the most important thing is the outcome. So the difference is that with teaching, once they have the information, they will know how to use it once they walk out of the gym environment. So for example, it may be that I'm going to help them understand the food choices they have to make, so educating the food choices once they leave the gym. So they may be going out for a meal that evening. So I may have educated them on what sort of things they should be eating. So I've taught them the right food choice.
Right.
And then when they're in the restaurant, they know what they can eat, or I should say they can make an educated decision on what they choose to eat. So if they choose the wrong thing, it's down to them, because they now have the understanding of what the effects it would have. Now, the thing is with instructing, and the word you used was to tell somebody. Well, ultimately, when we instruct someone, it's literally that. We are giving them the information. We don't necessarily need them or want them to go away and put it into practice. And it's as simple as that, really, probably. So the one thing I will say as well, when we instruct someone, like you say, when we tell someone, is that I'm sure we've all been there at some point, is that someone's told us to do something, and we thought to ourselves, well, that doesn't really work for me. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with instructing, is that we often go out there within, or as a fitness professional, we tell someone what to do without understanding how that would impact on that person. And that person walks away and thinks, well, that doesn't really work for me. And therefore, they're more likely than not, they just won't do it.
So that brings to mind a couple of problems with instruction. One that you're mentioning, which is reactance. Getting resistance because you've unwittingly conflicted with their beliefs, their past experiences. Yeah. Number two, they're afraid that if they don't meet your objectives, because it is your instruction, your directives, well, they might disappoint you, or they might fail. So that's out there. But what it also brings to mind is when you tell someone, here's exactly what you have to do, like here's your diet plan, related to nutrition, that falls outside the scope of practice of a personal trainer or any type of fitness professional, doesn't it? Unless you're a licensed dietitian or nutritionist. And I think the final thing is if conflicting information leads to confusion in the first place, you could further add to the confusion by adding another layer of didactic information or direction on top of an already confused individual. So yeah, those are a few problems that I see to present. What about this? What about giving an example in part 2? We'll come back and take a look at how these tools work in actual conversation during the session.
Sounds great.
All right, so join us in part 2, where Adam shows us how to put these skills into use.